Audio Jungle.
Man, I'm not even going to lie to you. Normally, I try and let that play out for the full 5 minutes just to get as many people in here as possible. But I am so excited. I'm pumped because you want to know why? Now that we have our 53-man roster set in stone, essentially what that means is now we can start looking forward into the regular season. It's been a long off season. It's been a long and an absolute rip your hair out sort of preseason due to some stories outside of what was happening, but we're beyond that. It's time to get excited. It's definitely time to get excited right now. About 15 minutes ago, we ended up getting the final 53-man roster with the Buffalo Bills releasing their final set of cuts. Now, there was definitely a couple of people. Well, I mean, honestly, from the list that I'm looking at, I'm about to share it here shortly, of maybe one guy that I was surprised. I really didn't see it coming. But here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It is done. It's done. Now, all we need to worry about is the LA Rams coming up on Thursday. This is supposedly the roster that the media, the national media, has been hyping up for the past couple of months about being the best team in football. This is the final product right here and there. What I want to do is I want to walk through each and every single player that was released. We had some special moves go down. We had some news be released about Trey White. Really want to talk about that, of when in reasonable expectation of when he will be back out there. And then there was a few injury settlements, etc., and then also a suspension move as well. So super intriguing how this all plays out. I am absolutely pumped. I hope you guys are. Like I said, the show is just going to be me walking through these cuts, walking through the 53-man roster, and then toward the end of the show, I am going to just sort of take a general Q&A. Now, I will be going through the live chat, but if anybody wants to hop on this stream, sort of talk it out with me, sort of let me know your piece on maybe a player that you wish would have made this team, that is exclusively set for with my Patreon contributors. There's absolutely no pressure. Y'all know the best way to support this channel is simply just by smashing the ever-living fuck out of that like button. That's all I ask of you. But if you ever want to go the extra mile, you can find that Patreon link pinned in the live chat. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go, baby. Go Bills. Vincent, I know. I have been waiting for this literally all day. Been really trying to go on ahead and hide my excitement here. Relic comes in 187, 9 days. It's absolutely right. 9 days until we face off against the LA Rams. This is probably one of the most anticipated seasons that I remember, especially as a younger Bills fan. I wouldn't consider myself to be young. I'm 31 years old. For most of the kids, would consider myself to be a boomer at this point. No Name Fins YouTube says, and so are there any concerns for the first 4 games without Trey? We're going to get into that once we end up walking through some of these cuts that roll through, but I will certainly star that question real fast, and then I will certainly come back to that one because that is a great question, and I feel like that we really need to start talking about it. Yo ho ho, Dan. What a cut list. I know, right? I mean, honestly, when I look at this, and like I said, I'm about to share my screen here so you guys can have a good idea. I'm sure that you've already seen it. I'm sure that several of you have this as your wallpaper on your phone right now, but crazy. Some definitely wild stories. Okay, we got Spin 0481, and I think they're going to stash Stevenson on the IR and sign a punter. That is actually a very common opinion. With not only myself, several Buffalo Bills personalities right there. We're going to get into that as well. I'm going to go ahead and star that once we end up getting into the whole Q&A situation. And we're going to talk about that. We got Pink Circle coming in and saying that I can't wait to go to Baltimore in October to see the Bills play the Ravens. Should be a good one. I myself am going to the Steelers game and the Green Bay Packers game. So super excited to be back up in Buffalo, hang out with the Dom Mafia, Bills Mafia. You know how it goes. But anyway, right now we have 123 people in this live chat. Let's go ahead and start diving into this. Again, smash the fuck out of that like button, baby. Just smash it. You know you want to. Smash it like you want to smash a table right now. once you're finally starting to realize that this is the damn team, okay, of 2022. So this is the official document, the official aesthetic, I would say, image of what the Bills ended up releasing about 15 to 20 minutes ago. Now, number one is Matt Barkley. I really was not surprised by this move whatsoever. I really feel like although that Case Keenum ended up having some shoddy performances in the preseason by itself, I just feel like that he has a lot more starting experience, and I feel like that he's just a better fit. The Buffalo Bills, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to have three quarterbacks on the 53. So Matt Barkley being gone is not a surprise, especially to me. And I would most likely say the vast majority of objective Bills fans. Now, what was sort of screwed up, in my opinion, Matt Barkley and Nick McLeod, which we're going to get into. With Nick McLeod made a bit more sense once we end up getting into his name, but both of these two are at practice today. Matt Perino listed out an absolute list of everybody that he saw at practice. So we ended up getting a pretty good idea of who made this team. And a lot of us are like, okay, why are we keeping three quarterbacks? Is that the case? And Matt Barkley really didn't make sense. I mean, maybe, for example, they just wanted to like let him say his goodbyes, hang out with his friends. He was a Bill for a very long time. But then Nick McLeod was a bit different. But we're going to get into exactly why he did practice, because literally his name on this roster was determined by the practice today. So he lost his job today based off of a competition between him and Cam Lewis. But we will get right over there. Right here, we have offensive line, Greg Manx and Luke Tenuta. Not a surprise. Same thing with Alec Anderson. I feel like that those are really just roster fillers going into the preseason, with hopes of maybe being able to find a hidden gem of some sort of talent. But those three being gone, certainly not a surprise. Raheem Blackshear. Now, this was sort of a 50-50 split from most Bills fans that I did talk to. This guy was, I would probably have to categorize as the camp sweetheart this year. Everybody absolutely fell in love with him. And say that I'm being fully transparent and I'm being honest, he had some great performances in the preseason. But it was Joe Marino, I want to say, said it, or maybe it was somebody else out of Buffalo Rumblings. If somebody knows the exact source, let me know. But they had a wonderful take on Raheem Blackshear, that the only way that you look at it, he is a depth running back. And when it comes into that position, there is a copious amount within the NFL. And although that I have been a huge critic of the Buffalo Bills run game, especially throughout the past couple of seasons, I think that this was the right move. I am fully confident in Cook really stepping up right within his rookie season. I am hoping that Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, with the improvements in our offensive line, are going to perform the way that we expect them to. And then also, that's really how it all sort of works out. And then, I mean, with Reggie Gilliam and stuff along those lines, and then with Tywan Jones, he is an absolute asset when it comes into our special team. So I didn't see him really going anywhere. And unfortunately, when it came to Raheem Blackshear, he was just the odd man out in that situation. I have full confidence that he will find a team. If not, then he might be able to be on our practice squad, which currently is allowed to have 6 players. Practice squad hasn't been announced yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see his name on that list if another team does not pick him up prior to that. Duke Johnson, same exact fate. I think that when it just came into Cook, who we ended up spending a second-round draft pick on, and then just the running backs that had experience with the Buffalo Bills offense, I feel like that he was just set up to fail going into the preseason in general. And plus, he is getting up there in age. He really didn't impress a lot in the preseason. So with these two, not surprised, but certainly sad to see Blackshear go. Next up, Tanner Gentry. Not surprised whatsoever. I feel like that a lot of his popularity, if any, was just the fact that he went to college with Josh Allen. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, the Buffalo Bills have a stacked receiving room. I'd probably say that that's the most talented room on this team, closely comparable to the DBs and the defensive line, especially this year. But with Tanner, it was just, very difficult to even put up a competition. I mean, we're absolutely stacked. This one right here. This one right here. This was probably the most controversial, would have to be Isaiah Hodgins. I am very disappointed that he did not make this team. I really, really am. I feel like that he definitely beat out. Let me see. Let me go ahead and pull up what we have right here in the wide receivers. And so to be honest with you, I would have much rather have had Isaiah Hodgins over Jamison Crowder. And then I would have much rather had Hodgins over Kumaro, especially with Kumaro being relatively inconsistent. I feel like Isaiah Hodgins was probably my biggest disappointment. I wouldn't say that it was a shock cut because I saw it coming, just because the guy, unfortunately, was just never able to stay healthy. Would love to see him on our practice squad, but I really think that he's going to get picked up. I would have much rather had Hodgins on this team over Kumaro and then over Crowder as well. But when it comes to Jamison Crowder, he's an absolute weapon when it comes out of the slot. I know that he had a bit of a slow preseason, but as far as his resume is concerned, this guy right here, I could really see him being an asset to another offense within this league. I was absolutely very upset about that situation. But I mean, hey, it's football and our front office knows best. I'm very excited to see what Crowder can do, and I'm very excited to see the contribution that Kumaro can put under our special teams, which he's done a fantastic job with the past 2 years that he has been on there. Next up is hands down probably going to be the tight end OJ Howard. Now, this one was a surprise as well. Probably the biggest surprise of the cut list, in my opinion. Now, I know that there was a bunch of reports that always came out and said, hey, Sweeney and Quinton had a way better preseason than OJ Howard. And I was the first one to go out and attempt to give an argument against it, saying that I felt that OJ Howard was just sort of taking time to adapt to a new offense. Since he was in Tampa Bay, they didn't really utilize him a lot. But the reason why I thought that he was a shoo-in for this roster was just his sheer size, right? He is the exact sort of player that Sean McDermott and normally most offensive coordinators love. Big body target, great blocker, but we ended up releasing him. Now, it was hashtag sports that put out a TikTok a bit earlier today, and they made a great point. They said, prior to us signing OJ Howard, the vast majority of the NFL always said, why is he not being utilized? Is the reason Gronk is being targeted more, he's seeing more snaps, simply because of the favoritism when it comes into Tom Brady? And that's just Tom's call. From what they're seeing, it sounds like that question was answered. He simply just doesn't move the same way that he used to. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with this entire blocking scheme when it comes into the whole tight end situation. I really wanted to have the two massive tight ends, like lineups ready to go. But unfortunately, it seems like that OJ Howard just ended up getting released, right? And how significant it must have been is that the Buffalo Bills are going to be eating some dead cap this year and the following year. So the coaching staff must have seen something that was an absolute, yeah, we cannot have this guy taking up space on this roster, especially with us eating that much dead cap when we're already sort of flirting with some cap issues throughout the next couple of years. So something that I just wanted to bring to the table. I mean, I am very weirded out about OJ Howard, but who knows? Who knows? Okay. Next up was Mike Love, and then Kingsley Jonathan, and then Brandon Bryant, and then Prince Emili, and then CJ Brewer as well. These 5, not surprising. Mike Love has been a regular name within the Buffalo Bills camp for the longest time. But I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, I mean, when you look at all the defensive ends that we have, right? And I mean, this is great because for the longest time, our defensive line really struggled. We have some great youth in Boogie Basham, AJ Epinesa. We have Groot. Von Miller just ended up coming in. Shaq Lawson, who I think is going to be super effective. It was really just, in my opinion, very difficult to compete with that sort of like name group that was at camp right over there. So that, in my opinion, really isn't much of a surprise. So we'll see what's going on there. Those 4 being gone, that is it. And then we had linebacker Joe Giles Harris gone. And then this is probably the one thing that I did want to talk about with Nick McCloud. So with Nick McCloud, he ended up getting cut, and a lot of people on Twitter were extremely confused. They were saying, hey, why did he practice this morning when he was going to be cut, right? Because when Matt Prino ended up dropping the 55 players that he saw at practice, the vast majority of us thought, hey, there's our 53 right there. One was Barkley, and then one was McCloud, where people just started scratching their heads. And they said, why the hell is Nick McCloud out there? It turns out that his spot on this team was decided today between him and Cam Lewis. Apparently, according to reports, Nick McCloud and Cam Lewis have been taking a lot of snaps as safety, right? Because during last night's stream, you did notice that we pointed out our safety depth, right? It's right outside of Poyer and Hyde. It's not looking too good. I mean, decent, but they were essentially playing a lot of snaps on the safety side of things rather than being a corner. And then it sounds like that Cam Lewis ended up winning out that position based off of the fact that he is just a very good nickel cornerback. And then that's something that our defense has historically ran, especially during different types of offenses. So I think when it came down to it, that was that last little competition. And then it looks like Cam Lewis just ended up coming out on top with that entire situation. So very, very interesting to see. Very interesting to see. But I mean, I would feel like absolute dog shit if I practiced and then as soon as when I got out of the shower, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, dude, go home. But it's a business. It's a business, right? Then last but not least, we have Ingram, who is a DB, who I think was just a name brought in for some extra bodies in camp. So very, very interesting. Those were the cuts. And then finally, we do end up having some moves that were announced, and then it's only missing the Stevenson move. So with number 1, we have Eli Anku, has been released right due to an injury settlement. Definitely wish him the best. Hopefully that he'll be able to see the football field again sometime soon. And then now it comes down into Tre'Davious White. So this has probably been one of the biggest pieces of news that, frankly, I was more concerned about what was happening with Trey White right over this 53-man roster release. White has been added to the reserve PUP list. What that means, differing from IR, is even if this dude were to come out completely healthy tomorrow, automatically he cannot play for the first 4 games of the season. So it sounds like the Buffalo Bills, based off of that move, are not comfortable with Trey, starting that fast because they really want to make sure that that ACL is healed, not rushed, and he comes back just as effective as he was prior to the injury against the Saints. A lot of people are making predictions that we're not going to see him until week 8, and that's against the Green Bay Packers. Because do keep in mind, we do have a bye week 7. So that is what a lot of people are predicting. Some think they might go on ahead and try and get him back week 5, week 6. But I think week 8 against the Packers makes the most sense, right? Just give him one more day for the bye week, make sure he's absolutely ready to go. And we're going to have to see how our depth in the cornerback situation works. I am very excited that we have the best safety tandem in the entire NFL between Poyer and Hyde. I love Taron Johnson. I think he is a slept on slot corner out there. And then we're going to have to see, and we're going to have to expect that Alam just absolutely balls, dude. Like, I know you're a rookie, but you got to step up, man. You have to step up for your team. And from what I've seen in the preseason, the little that I did, I have a lot of confidence as well. And then with Dane Jackson on right within the other side, he's going to have to sort of step up. And then even if it has to be Benford, who I am exceptionally happy that ended up making this team. So that's the Trey White news. I have no idea where the hell I was going with that. Probably because I got distracted from my good friend Colby Goldrup for dropping me a $10 donation. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Hope life is going well in Tampa. I need to go ahead and visit you soon. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. That helps out the channel significantly. Okay, and then last but not least, we have Andre Smith, who has been suspended, and then he is on that reserve list. Final thing is Stevenson. So he made the team, much to my surprise. And I thought that we were going to release him, but he is on the IR. And the key difference between the IR and the reserve pup list is that if he's healthy week 1, if he's healthy week 2, if he's healthy week 3, he can play. He's on the roster, etc. That's unlike that pup list where you automatically need to be out 4 games, no questions asked. Sounds like the Buffalo Bills feel like he will be ready probably within that 4-week window. So he is going to be out there. Now, looking at the roster that we have right now, especially in the wide receiver room, I mean, not unless we wanted to bring him back and he is exclusively our kick returner. I really don't see him dressing, but who knows? Who really knows? So that is the moves, baby. 53-man roster. 53-man roster. So what I figured we're going to do right now, guys, is we are going to just open the floor right to a general Q&A. Really want to hear your thoughts about a lot of things, so just start firing them off. Like I said, for everyone that is a subscriber to my Patreon, I did post the link on Patreon where you can actually join me on this stream, and then we can just have a conversation over the stream for like a question, etc., and hang out. If not, completely fine. I will just go on ahead and go through the live chat, but no excuse not to smash the fuck out of that like button. Out of that like button. Let's see. Pierre, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man? How you doing? So Jody comes in and says they got rid of Matt Barkley again. They certainly did. Yeah, they certainly did. I mean, I did sort of briefly touch on this a bit earlier in the stream, but as hot and cold that Case Keenum did in the preseason, as hot and cold as he performed, he just has more starting experience. He's a proven winner. He's won playoff games. I just think that he's a better fit as the backup quarterback at this time. I know that Barkley was an absolute great culture fit, but I think that if we want to even come close to the caliber of backup quarterback play that we got from so Mitch from last year, I mean, although that we really only saw him like when we were blowing out the other team, I feel like Case Keenum was just, the better fit. As far as culture, that's important, but the backup quarterback is our insurance policy. And when you have something that is so valuable, and what I'm talking about, like Josh Allen, you need to make sure that you have a hell of an insurance policy. And between the two, I think Case Keenum was just a safer bet. So I'm certainly not upset with that situation. We got Dave coming in, and I didn't hear Specter's name. I'm surprised he made it. Yeah, dude, he made it. He made it. In fact, last night on my stream, I said that I thought that he was not going to make this team, right? But one thing that I do love pointing out is the fact that when he ended up getting drafted, and he was in the third round, I want to say, they mentioned heavily that he was a great special teams player. And the Buffalo Bills value special teams more than anybody, more than many teams in this league. So I think that that's half the reason why he did end up making it. That we did spend a pretty significantly high pick for him. So just something to think about. But that's some good things right over there. My guy Pierre comes in and says, "All love, brother. As I got in here late, are there any surprises for you so far?" So Pierre, that's a great question. And by the way, listen, like, I mean, I just feel like absolutely dumb, like, for even wanting to like make this suggestion, because I know everyone knows Buffalo Fanatics. Like, they're like the top tier Bills channel out there. Like, you know who they are. Dude, man is a pioneer for YouTube Bills content. Definitely check out his show. Love him and Rico. Great guys. So what I would say, Pierre, is that there's one shock and one disappointment. With Hodgins, I really wanted the Hodgins, man. I really wanted the Hodgins, but I saw the possibility. And when I stepped back and thought objectively about it, I could see Hodgins not making it. And I think when it boiled down to it, I think the injury history that he has put out the past couple of years may have been the deciding factor. Um, Frankly, I would have loved to see Hodgins over this team, and that is over Jamison Crowder. Would love to see him over that, and then also with Jake Kumaro. Although Kumaro plays a great role on special teams, I still would have loved Hodgins on this roster. I mean, he had an absolute baller of a game that last preseason game with Case Keenum throwing it to him. So super disappointed there. Shock was OJ Howard. Biggest shock was OJ Howard, 1,010%. Now, once we ended up trading for him, right, or signing him, etc., not trading for him, we paid him some money. And the fact that we ended up releasing him, we're eating some dead cap for the next 2 years, I want to say. And yes, I know that he didn't have the best performance like right in the preseason, but at the end of the day, I feel like that he just fits the Bills mold of what they look for in a tight end. Dude's a massive target. He's a tremendous blocker. It just didn't make sense, right? And I mean, I feel like that he must have showed the coaching staff, like, he must have been absolutely waving red flags, especially for Brandon Beane, that puts the cap at such a high priority to release him. I started getting red flags when I saw reports that Sweeney and Nelson were doing better than OJ Howard, but I still think that we would have rode with him just under the impression that it was the preseason and maybe he needed a bit more time to adjust right to a new offense, right? So super, super surprising on my end. Let me see. John Mitchell comes in and says, "Dan, thank you for the content. We all appreciate your commentary and hard work for what you do for all of us. Thank you, Dan. Let's go Buffalo." John, dude, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I enjoy doing it, man. I enjoy doing it. Had myself a hell of an off season. Really got to travel, hang out, but I'm back to business. Back to business. And I feel like I'm about to get back on the live stream game. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm just going to exclusively live stream. And then if anyone likes my short videos, I'm just going to clip some of these in case you guys wanted to short situation. William comes in and says, "Did we pick up a punter?" Not yet. In fact, that's why Stevenson is going to be put on the IR for making this team to make room for someone. There's been a couple of like talks. I'm not sure if tryouts happened today or maybe it's going to be within the next day or so, but no, we have nothing set in stone as of right yet. Yeah. Nick G comes in. Yeah, that's great. He says White's on the pup list, which means he can't even practice until week 4. Yeah. I mean, really with this next take as well, it's so realistic that the best case scenario is that White gets back like on week 8 against Green Bay. We're just going to have to trust our secondary, you know? Love you too, bro. Love you too, man. Let's go Bills, huh? Right now we're looking at what's supposedly supposed to be the Super Bowl champions. I'm excited, man. Listen, the news has been hyping us up all offseason, and right now we're seeing the formula. We're not just looking at a roster right now. We're looking at a formula to a championship. If we all stay healthy, then I think there's no question that we are not the most talented roster in this league right now. Most talented. And so Nick comes in and says, Shakir is going to be better than Hodgins. Don't worry. I am excited about Shakir. I am very, very excited about Shakir. In fact, when you put it like that, that might be a reason why he was gone, right? Where they essentially just ended up saying, hey, I love Crowder's veteran leadership. He's proven himself in the slot. I love Kumaro because he has such a great presence on special teams. And the reason Hodgins didn't make it was just because the rookie that we ended up drafting absolutely just balled out in the preseason. That could have been it. I feel like that could have been the common denominator as into why Hodgins is not on this team. Could be it. Logan comes in and says, why did Bobby Hart make this team? Listen, man, I will be the first to tell you that when it comes to Bills creators, like there's definitely a lot better people to follow when it comes down into like film, right? Like where like they like watch the game like 80 times and they watch like each position group, like offensive line. And there's people like me who are just fans, bro. Who knows basic knowledge. Like I basically just like read stuff, listen to podcasts, and I just reiterate it and I give you my feelings on it. Okay. But from what I have heard, he has shown drastic improvement. And trust me, I was the exact same dude, bro. Like when I heard that he was starting against the Jags last year, like I almost shat myself because I thought Josh Allen was going to die. He almost did during that game. But from what I understand, he appears to have worked on his game quite a bit. And I guess it paid dividends. But once again, it's the preseason. You know who else looked good in the preseason? Nathan Peterman. So we shall see, but I'm just praying that he doesn't dress or like that he is so far low in the rotation that he won't be out there unless there's a significant injury. Rage Enterprises comes in and says Blackshear should have stayed. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I was very impressed with a lot of the runs that he ended up busting off during some of those preseason games, but I feel like when it came down to it, you're not going to let go of Tywan Jones. He's been with this team for the longest time. We signed him to a contract. He's a great contributor to special teams. Singletary and Moss, I feel like that the coaching staff and the front office are giving them one final year to prove their investment. And I think that this year, those two have no excuse because from what we've seen so far in the preseason, that the offensive line has improved as far as run blocking is concerned. So I feel like that we kept them for that reason alone, that based off of familiarity with our system, although it's changed a bit since Dorsey's calling plays now. And then with James Cook, I mean, obviously we drafted him like right in the second round, absolutely balled out in the preseason. So I feel like Blackshear was just the odd man out, like right in the situation. If somebody doesn't pick him up within the next couple of days, don't be surprised if you see him on our practice squad. Do not see that. That's a question. In fact, let me see. Buffalo Bills cap space. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Do we bring in Joe Hayden since White is out for 4 weeks? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that is a hell of a question. That is a hell of a question. Would I be happy about that? Would I be happy about the Buffalo Bills right now taking on Joe Hayden on this roster to fill in for Trey White? Absolutely, I would. I 1000% would love bringing him in. I think that he would be a great presence in the cornerback room. However, do I see the Buffalo Bills realistically doing it? No. I feel like right now the Bills are really, really big on soon as when they make their team, like in the middle of the season, like that's their damn team. Like, I mean, honestly, like, can anybody really think about in recent history of any massive move Brandon Beane has made after the 53-man roster was made and set? Not me. So I feel like that he would be great, but I have a feeling that when it comes down into our safeties, I have a feeling that we're going to be able to scheme around his absence. Right. But I mean, and so I would be perfectly happy with that. What's up, Joel? Let's go Bills. That's right. That's right. They hyped us up last year with Josh Allen. They sure did. But dude, this year, so many people are saying that like we're Super Bowl favorites. And I'm hoping that it doesn't bite us in the ass. Dan comes in and says, kids got heart. Ryan comes in and adds his take saying that the running back is too crowded for Blackshear. I agree. Like I said, he was just, he was unfortunately just the last man out. Brian, can someone tell me why I kept Tommy Sweetie and not OJ Howard? That's crap. I agree. I definitely agree. It was a massive shock on my end. That we decided to eat money for the next 2 years, but sounds like OJ Howard must have extremely disappointed. I mean, he didn't look that good from our perspective watching him in the preseason, but knowing how much value that Brandon Beane puts in the finances of this team, that he was willing to walk away, I suppose I'm not entirely surprised, but it was rough. It was very, very rough. Spin comes in and says Bean tried to get Diggs midseason. Yeah, he did. That is true. But it's definitely not the craziest behavior. So we got Kermit coming in saying, been a Bills fan since Joe Ferguson. It's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, hopefully this year of years of disappointment will finally be satisfied with the Lombardi living in Buffalo, New York. That's where it's going to be. Will Gabe Davis be wide receiver number 1? I still see Diggs being wide receiver number 1. However, I highly anticipate Gabe Davis's targets to go through the roof. Me and a buddy were talking about this the other day, and one thing I'm absolutely thrilled about is with the rise of Gabe Davis, and all he needs to do is just prove this. For the first 2 or 3 games. The whole double teaming Stephon Diggs is going to be a thing of the past. Literally going to be a thing of the past. Do you have any idea how much that is going to open up our offense? I wouldn't be surprised if Diggs and Gabe Davis both receive for over like 12 to 1,300 yards this year. Throw Knox into the mix. Say, for example, that we can finally get this running game going. I have full confidence that we can, now that we've improved a bit on the offensive line side of things and we got some pieces that are great run blockers. We're getting to a point where Josh Allen's weapons, they're so numerous that you really can't double team anybody without having somebody literally wide open at this point. So to answer your question, Do I see Gabe Davis being the number one target for JA? No. But do I see him spreading the ball and throwing it Gabe Davis's way a lot more often? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's proved it, especially in the playoffs. His first year in the playoffs, man. I knew this kid was going to be special during that playoff game against the Colts about 2 years ago with like those toe drag swags. It was largely him, in my opinion, that won us that game just due to his pure athleticism. Now he's really getting his bearings into the league. He's going to be a baller, dude. He's going to be a baller. And honestly, I mean, I'm like very interested to see like where he goes in fantasy, because say that I see that man sitting at the 6th round. That's a fantasy steal right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fantasy football steal, is Gabe Davis this year. Let's see. Jordan Smith comes in and says, "How are your chicken wings yesterday?" Solid, dude. Solid. My girlfriend is from the South, right? Like she's from Hartsville, South Carolina. And I'm still trying to get her on the blue cheese train, bro. I'm still trying to get her on the blue cheese train, but she doesn't have blue cheese in her house. Okay. So all she had was ranch. You know what I did? I ate them dry. Okay. Because I refuse to destroy my chicken wings with ranch dressing. And so, but overall, great. One thing I will give her is the fact that she seasoned them and sauced them so great. So great. Like most people like drench them in sauce, but like everyone knows like you're supposed to like strain them a bit, like let it coat, kiss the wing. Dude. Very good on that end, but we just need to get some blue cheese in this house stat. We just need to get some blue cheese in this house stat. That is the only complaint I think that I'd be able to roll out there. Mr. Diggs, it's been a while, man. What's good? Yo, yo, yo. Back in the Buffalo groove. I know, man, dude. 9 days. 9 days. Elliot, yes. Yes. Let me tell you what. The sauce ratio on a chicken wing is not talked about enough. Okay. I feel like that's the next debate when it comes into chicken wings is, yeah. Okay. Obviously, honestly, blue cheese is the clear winner. There's no debate. Okay. Like you go into that argument with ranch on your side, you're losing every day, twice on Sunday. This is the next argument is the sauce ratio. Does anybody leave Buffalo and they go somewhere else and they order chicken wings, which is always a risk, but you do it anyway, and you get it and like it is like caked with sauce, right? Like it's like too much. It's like too much. Like you need the perfect amount, like almost kissed. Like it kisses the wing, like it's there for the flavor. The vast majority of it's like basically strained out. That is an argument that I feel like a lot of us need to bring back to the table. Is this argument alone? Sauce ratio on a wing. That's the next big debate. 1,000%. Oh man, this is turning into a chicken wing debate right here in the live chat. I'm okay with it. Is I like my wings naked, no ranch or blue cheese. Hey, dude, that's how you do it. Brian comes in and says the chunky blue cheese and spicy sauce wings. Absolutely. Seth comes in. Yo, Dan, what are you picking, flats or drums? I'm a big drums guy, bro. Huge drums guy. Don't know why, but I've always been a drums guy. I feel like that I'm one of the few in that situation. So Derek comes in and says there's no such thing as too much sauce. Okay, look, see? I've started a healthy debate in this live chat right now. I've started it already. Nobody likes a soggy wing. Exactly. Right? Way too much. That, bro, or like sometimes in South Carolina, like I'll go to a place and like, dude, like they're like fried. Like they're like fried, bro. Like I'm talking like a solid 1.5 inches of like breading. Okay. And so 1.5 inches is average though, right? Right? No. But I'm saying like the overall breading, when there's too much breading, I'm like, dude. Like, I'm like never ordering wings anywhere again. Drums all day. My guy Elliot comes in. Maria's blue cheese. Yes, most definitely. I have that stocked in my fridge. Noob comes in and says, I will fight over a flat. Flat, no doubt. is I hate breaded wings, and I get down here in Virginia, it drives me insane. Absolutely. Drums easier to dip with, 1000%. And did y'all see that video? Like, I'm pretty sure it was on TikTok where the guy like took the wing and like he took it from the bone and then just literally just like pushed it all the way down. Meat's just like dangling off. And dude, life hack. Been doing that for the longest time. What's up, Brian? Dude, man, I really appreciate that. Listen, man, I'm definitely planning on getting some fans on this show. Just keep me in the loop, my friend. The umbrella wing. The umbrella wing. That's it. Like that's a technique that I need to figure out. We got flats. The Trek reviewer says, Dan Mitchell. And do you think we draft a punter next season? Maybe Michael Turk from Oklahoma. You know what? This is one thing I always like sort of throwing out there because I try to be as transparent with you guys as possible. College football, man, I really don't follow a lot of it. The only time I ever really start looking into prospects is once the Super Bowl is over. That's when I'll go on ahead and I'll watch bowl games. Obviously, like prior to that, once the Super Bowl is over, that's when I'll start doing research on top prospects. That's when I'll watch like highlights, like overall reviews by itself. But in my opinion, no. I think that we ended up picking who we did just because of the fact that we were as stacked as we were at that time. So I felt that that was one of the sole reasons why we did end up doing that. I don't see us drafting a punter next year. I think that we'll probably just stick with free agency. Yeah. When in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, let's get wings, bro. Jeff, yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Listen, there's like one or two places. There's like one or two places where I feel like that are passable. Like they're passable, but I don't know. Is a bomb 83 said that I am toxic. No. I love A Bomb. What's going on, man? That is absolutely great. What's up, baby?
Hi.
Is it your family here?
No.
Is we not go to dinner anymore?
Yeah, we are going to dinner.
Oh, you just came pick me up?
I got to get ready.
Oh, you want to come in? Come in. And so you're here yesterday?
I know.
And so we're going to dinner with our family. We're getting seafood tonight. We're getting seafood. It's my dog, Groot. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here, Groot. Come here, buddy. By the way, it's my D. Come here. This is Groot. So named after our defensive end. It's an absolute stud. Absolute stud. And he also hits like Gregory Rousseau as well. He took my legs out yesterday when I was walking down the stairs. So absolutely something that is crazy. What's up, baby?
Hey, baby. Hey.
Seafood. I hear you. Oh, yeah, man. Most definitely. We're going to this place called Hot Fish Club. So we're going to this place called Hot Fish Club in Myrtle's Inlet. Her family's in town. And Jim says Groot got big. He's huge, dude.
Yeah,
He's massive. He's 7 months old. He's 75 pounds. He's like a mix of like a Cane Corso.
Akita.
And so an Akita.
A Chow Chow.
A Chow Chow.
Rhodesian Ridgeback.
A what?
Rhodesian Ridgeback.
A Rhodesian Ridgeback.
And a Shetland Collie.
And a Shetland Collie. So all absolutely massive dogs. My dog's name is Allen after Josh Allen. Mr. Diggs is like, oh shit, he is Groot. Yeah, dude, absolutely. That's a stud. And then this guy. Come here, man. This is Graham. This is my boy right here. He's doing his thing, you know? It's funny because I actually ended up like getting them both Bills jerseys. So Groot's got his actual Groot jersey coming in. And then Graham, I'll probably just get him something small. Super chill. Noob says, whoa, that's a bougie dog. He's the homie. He's the homie though. He's super chill. And Jim was like, he was a pup when you first introduced him. Yeah, dude, he's massive. As Brian said that my dog's name really is Alan. Dude, it's great. I feel like every single Bills fan, for the most part, has like a Bills related dog. Just got to do it. Have to do it. But yeah, Del Mafia. I am absolutely thrilled about this 53-man roster situation. I feel like that this is the formula, right? This is the formula to a Super Bowl team, a Super Bowl championship, if you will. So do me a favor, like this video if you have not already. And then tomorrow night is the AFC East Roundtable. Okay. And we are actually streaming on our own channel. So make sure if you haven't subscribed to that channel already, do so. It's going to be heated, right? Me, Tyson, same with TD Finstock and Richie. We're all going to be debating because now we know what our team looks like. It's going to be a hell of a damn episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to that channel. If you just go on ahead and just type in AFC East Roundtable and then you just filter down by channels, you will see it. We have a fire new logo. Make sure you're there. And then I'm also going to go on ahead and then I'm going to do an AFC East Roundtable pregame so we can have a Q&A, and then I will move all of you over there tomorrow. Super, super excited about all of that. Del Mafia, listen, I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in for yet another edition of the Del Mafia Report. And before I let you go, better always remember, let's go Buffalo.